There we go. We're starting. Hello, everybody. Average Joe here, and this time we're telling another military tale. Doing a video for Christmas time, well, Christmas Eve, I was suddenly reminded of a time where I got to go to captain's mast when I was in the Navy. Thankfully, it wasn't for me, but I was a part of it because this guy who caused the captain's mast um, had an incident prior to what I'm about ready to tell you that I was a part of. I was on underway fuel replenishment detail, or UNREP, and one of the safety tricks is when we're returning the rope across the pulley system on the oiler ship, they have a mechanical winch that they pull the rope on. And on our side, we have a 16-man pulling team. But when we're done, we're doing a safety hazard of returning the line hand over hand over hand over hand for safety reasons. This guy was going like that, but he was returning the line through a ring in his hand. Now, that was wrong for one main reason. This rope is made out of nylon, and it's a big old hefty duty rope made out of nylon, sorry. Uh, but it was covered in oil, so if the oil had stuck to your hand, you'd get pulled right through the pulley system, and they would not know to shut off the winch. So, for safety reasons, you had to do the hand over hand method, and he wasn't. I tried to correct this guy on the line by telling him, "Yo, dude, you got to do a hand over hand." And he's like, "No," and he pushes me on my back because he was behind me. Uh, I did the dutiful thing. I told the line captain what was going on. Nothing happened, so I'm like, okay, fine. It's just some big deal, no big deal. Just go back to work. About a week or two later, this same particular guy, he was a 5 foot tall guy with an attitude the size of Montana. I mean, small guy, big attitude. Foolish, too, but that's beside the point. But he decided he wanted to pick a fight with my friend, Drake. Big old tall drink of water, beanpole kind of a fella, but he was like 6'7". 6'7" trying to pick on, a 5'2" trying to pick on a 6'7" guy. Not gonna work. The guy had cornered him in the bedroom area, the berthing in the naval terms, and tried to pick a fight with him in between some of the beds. And on the ship, these beds are stacked pretty tight against each other. So my buddy he didn't want to get hurt with this fight, so he bear hugged him. Rah. And in an effort to try to get free, this 5'2" guy bounced his head on one of the metal brackets that held the beds up. Cut his little eyebrow just a hair. Got a couple stitches. Wah, wah, wah. But there was a big thing on the Navy ships. Zero tolerancy for fighting. So, my buddy took this guy to captain's mast to make him, pay for fighting because that's not a thing. So, I was called along with him as a witness because that little incident with the unrep detail was a factor in why this guy was being bad. Now, I learned firsthand why captain's mast is not a thing you'd want to get. It ran of 3 different levels. First level, all the chiefs of the ship, and on this ship there were about 32 of them, all get to yell at you and ask why and prove to you that that was a bad thing. That was interesting because the tale that the 5'2" guy said, it was all Drake's fault. No remorse, no nothing. He was just placing blame on somebody else. Okay. The one part that really threw me was the food supply officer of the ship, or SUPO for short. The senior lieutenant said to the chiefs, now this guy has some weight because he's a senior lieutenant. He's like 4 or 5 steps above a chief, which is really powerful. Said that he did not trust this guy. Wow, that was a sharp stab to the gut. Anyway, whether this guy earned it or not, I didn't know. I was just an E3 little nothing, so I did my part, and that was it. I had hid in the shadows, and I was like, okay, standing at attention, Don't mind me. I'm not doing anything bad. But I overlistened and watched this guy get reamed by all these chiefs. Now, for whatever reason, it went to the next level because there are three tiers to a captain's mast that I knew of. There was the Chiefs version. Then there's the XO, the big guy in charge, the commander, and then there's the captain. If you make it to the captain, you are in serious deep doo doo. So, we'd made it to the XO, and this dude broke the cardinal rule. If you're gonna get in trouble, keep your story straight. This guy didn't. He changed his story up, saying that, okay, maybe it was partially his fault. Why? But, and again, I watched him go through the motions. I did my part. I reported that he had not done his safety protocol like he was supposed to, and hid back in the corner, watching with wide eye, just going, what's going on here? Thankfully, I'm not in that position. And of course, he got, officially slapped on the hands and said that he wasn't supposed to do it. But with a word from the senior lieutenant, he got pushed up to the next level to go see the top dog, the captain. He is the highest ranking person on that ship when an admiral or somebody else higher than him isn't aboard. So he's top dog, and needless to say, I heard words that I never thought I'd ever hear from my captain, from any of the captains I served under. Swear words that I didn't even think existed. But he was madder than a wet hand. He was torqued. He ripped into this guy like no other, and he broke him down from an E3 to an E1. That is where I learned that if you're going to punish somebody in the military, you hurt him in the pocketbook. You don't hurt him specifically. You can do all kinds of things, make him do all kinds of bad things that most people wouldn't want to do, like clean up garbage, do extra details, stay on board ship, lock down your freedom so you can't go out into town. Stuff like that, that barely even phases people in the military. But hurt their pocketbook, oh yeah, you have to work back up to get whatever you had then. Now, I was getting paid about $1,700 as an E3, give or take. An E1 gets paid about probably $500. Yeah. Never get in trouble to where you have to lose rank. Because rank equals more money. Higher rank, more money. This is a good thing. A lot of times you have to work long and hard to get those ranks. Now, in my personal opinion, a lot of people didn't really earn their rank. They just simply got it. Some of them were book savvy and some of them were actually smart and did the political BS moves and basically kissed the right butts and did the right thing. I didn't like that kind of a way of doing things, so I didn't. So I stayed as an E3. But I watched a lot of my friends move up in rank and do all the motions that needed to be done. So I got to see how it was done, so I could probably eventually emulate it if I ever got the gall to do so. I didn't. That's why, as the entire 5 years in the Navy, I only stayed as an E3. But that's a tale for another day. But anyway, that was the Captain's Mast story. This is Average Joe saying TTFN. Have a Merry Christmas, guys, and I will see you after these messages.